That's sezno. I thought I would make a quick video about this. I really don't think being unbothered is a flex. People put so much into the appearance of being unbothered, both to other people and also to themselves. Because this is like definitely a thing that we do internally, I think. Like we tell ourselves that we have to be okay and force ourselves to be okay, even though sometimes we're not. I think there's a wide assumption these days that feeling emotion and like letting that emotion be shown is something that makes a person weak, and that people think they can feel stronger and more in control of their lives by keeping up this appearance of being unbothered and stoic. I think a lot of people, especially around my age, like tell themselves that they're stoic when they're really not, and there's no shame in that. In the US, there's definitely a culture here that values like self-control and emotional stability, and many people understandably associate that with confidence. Like a confident person is supposed to be strong and in control of all their feelings, and their confidence is like deep enough to keep them unaffected by the shit that happens in their life, and that is supposed to be attractive and admirable. Like, I get all of that in theory. As a young man myself, there's a great deal of connection here to what I witness with like the more toxic elements of masculinity and the cultures that exist around masculinity, where there is this thought process out there of like a man being emotionally affected by something is a manifestation of weakness, and that a man ought to be unwavering, unbothered, a beacon of strength, and so forth. How much of a man can you be if you let something bother you, etc.? And to me, it appears like the solution is not necessarily to actually be unbothered, but more to appear unbothered. There's a lot of pressure today that I think people impose on themselves and on others, where we're all terrified of being perceived as weak. And in order to feign strength, we put up this front like nothing affects us, even though that could obviously never be true for any human person at like any phase of their life, and that there's just like no shame in that, and maybe some of the most like profoundly human things about all of us are contained in that. And I'm not just like exclusively talking about men here. This idea extends to a lot of different shit, I think. Certainly in things like romantic relationships, and especially hookup culture, where people are like terrified of being honest and vulnerable and bothered. What I mean when I say that is like an earnest showing of emotion, an earnest expression of emotion. Like people are so obsessed with being the one who's like less bothered after a breakup or an encounter. But is that not just like one's own fright about how they will be perceived? That they could be judged or thought of as weak or embarrassing if that emotion is shown? Quite obviously, that would produce way more negative results than positive ones. That hinders communication and openness and connection. To me, that is like, it's obviously not strength. It's a lack of strength. It's a lack of confidence. Like, I'm not trying to preach here, but wouldn't a strong person be okay with feeling things? And not only that, but like understands the importance of feeling things. Like, why is it so bad to be bothered? And like feel whatever you feel, and also feel safe about expressing what you feel in the appropriate way when you want to. Like, people put more energy into the appearance of being unbothered rather than putting that energy towards addressing the things in their lives that would make them actually unbothered and more at peace with themselves and their role in this world and their relationships with other people. And obviously, you have to acknowledge something that you want to improve in order to begin improving. We all go through shit, and you can't just like turn your raw emotions off by like flicking a switch and expect to turn into the best version of yourself one day. Recently, I've been dealing with this as I've been growing my social medias and my music. I'm putting myself out there a lot, and I do derive a lot of confidence and self-actualization from working hard at it. I try to make progress and get things done every day, but also I do observe patterns in my behavior where I put a lot of pressure on myself. Yeah, I try very hard to be disciplined, and that's not a bad thing, but sometimes it can be toxic, where I kind of encourage myself to be unbothered when sometimes I'm not. Like some days I don't feel confident. I don't like the way that I look. Sometimes I don't want to set up a camera and talk or sing into a microphone. Or sometimes I'm just burned out or not feeling good or something is bothering me. But because of that discipline, like I catch myself like trying to just like push through it. Yeah, you do have to do that in life, but sometimes I feel like I lie to myself. Like I say to myself, the person that I imagine I'm going to be and am working towards becoming would be flawless and unflinchingly disciplined and confident all the time. And to be perceived any other way is counter to my image and my identity. And that is just like, that's just bullshit, you know? I am messy and sometimes inconsistent, as we all are, and that is fine. I ought to feel the things that I feel. And like, first of all, acknowledge that they're there. Acting nonchalant and unbothered, it does not make those things go away. It just like delays the problem. Being unbothered, at this phase of my life, I don't even know if that's possible, to be honest. I am a human being and I am affected by things in the universe. A great many things of which are just like not in my control anyway, right? But me being affected in various ways, it does not at all affect the value of me and what I do. So yeah, being unbothered is like not a flex. It's not cool. Like when did we all convince each other that like it's cool to be unbothered? Obviously, I'm not advocating like excessive catharsis and oversharing and overstepping all the time. But what I am saying is like, you can't act like emotional responses to things don't exist. And showing that is not weakness. I think it's strength. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.